We hope that there should not be crisis in family businesses, no, but sometimes you cannot avoid it. In the eventuality that there are this danger, I'm trying to understand what are the best strategy to make sure that the family come out successful in it.
Yeah.
Help us with that.
Well, first of all, there's a few things that are important. Number one is keep the family informed about the progress of the crisis management in the family business. So you have a lot of family members, they're all stakeholders in the business, but they might not have operational roles. They might be doing some other kinds of jobs, and that diversity is really important because they can have ideas, very creative ideas to solve the crisis, which people in the family business might not have because they're too stuck in the problem. They see it upfront too much. That's something a mistake we made, that at some point I, as a crisis manager, didn't inform the family as much as I should have. So from my own personal experience, keep the family informed at regular basis, because it's a resource you can use, a very good resource usually. Second thing, I mean, if you have a family business, if any business should have a crisis management plan where you say, okay, if this and that happens, this is what we do. You should have a crisis management team in the family business that those are designated people that take over certain tasks once a crisis hits. And at the same time, you should have a crisis management committee in the family where you say, okay, which are family members who are prepared to get more involved in the business the moment we have a crisis and we need the additional manpower and resource. And so when a crisis hits, for the family to come out stronger than before, it's all about how the family connects during it. So as I said, have some meetings, get everybody involved, work together on it. If you have a crisis management plan in place, it's very, very helpful to act quickly. So it's, in crisis, you usually have not a lot of time. But you have more time than you think usually. It's something that the Navy SEALs use a lot. So if you think you have a second to make a decision, you usually can say that you have a minute to think about it. And if you think you need to decide within a minute, it's an hour. So, and that's something that also the family will probably learn in a crisis. So the moment you come out of a crisis, usually you come out stronger. You learn that you learn to manage difficult decisions better. So the family will improve their decision-making capabilities from a crisis, because in a crisis you have to make tons and tons of decisions all day long, and hard ones at the time. So you will improve your decision-making capabilities. And the family should usually have moved closer together. The family bond is stronger, and a crisis is really good material for a family narrative. So if you have a family story dating back a few generations, and there is a crisis in one of the generations, that makes really good story. It can increase the family narrative and the family bond in the future if you use it properly. So that's probably the number one strength that comes out of a crisis for the family.
That's important. I like the thing that we're talking about now. That life is not just a straight line, all good, all good, all good. No, there are some times that it is bad. Yes, like you said, those bad moments, we need to use it to reflect and retell our story and reshape the story. But if it is just good all the time, very soon we lose track of people where we are coming from.
Exactly, and I'm not sure if you know Eckhart Tolle, the writer, Power of Now. He says something very powerful, which I love. And in order to appreciate the good times, you need to live through the bad times as well. Otherwise, you won't appreciate the good times.
That's it. I love that. All right. Now, in practical sense, how do you help your clients, people who need help in terms of how to manage family crisis?
Well, as I said, at the moment, I do this more through, I write a blog where I write about these topics. I do some research into it. I speak about the topic openly. That's my number one. One of my missions is to get families to speak about this topic, to be open about it. As we said, most of the families lose their wealth because of the family itself. And behavioral risk is overlooked in most families. People spend a lot on having managed, like consultants come into their business to make the business more resilient, but there's no money or little money spent on making the family more resilient. So I want to raise awareness for this topic, and I'm one of the founding members of Family Hippocampus, with 3 other very bright individuals, where we do a lot of research on the whole topic of family dynamics, also crisis management in families, succession planning for families. And so what we do is we try and find solutions and ways for families to facilitate these discussions, to become more resilient as a group, to become more closer together, more harmonic as a group, and understand each other better.
Thank you so much for that, there, Octavian. Now, I want you to use this moment to promote what you're doing, connect with people. Those who want to connect with you, want to benefit from what you do. Tell them how to reach you. Go ahead.
Well, if you want to reach me, add me on LinkedIn, send me a message there, or you can, if you want to read a bit about what I write about and do, go on my blog, octavianpilati.com, and have a little look at that. Otherwise, if you are in a family business or from a family office, you might see me at one of the European conferences where I usually speak about these kind of things.
All right. Now, what would be your recommendation to people who can possibly be in crisis, or those who are already in crisis? What do you want to say to them?
Well, as I said before, remember, you yourself are your number one resource, and look after yourself. If you don't sleep enough, if you eat badly, if you're stressed out, you will make bad decisions, and those decisions will be bad for saving the company or your family or whatever crisis you're living through. So take time for yourself, look after yourself. The second recommendation, as I also said, is crisis is a very high pressure situation. You have limited resources. Also, usually you are under high time pressure. But again, you have more time to make a decision than you think you do. Things are not as urgent as other people may make it seem, or as you might think in the first beginning. So as I said, take your time for important decisions. Make them at the right time of the day. So if you're tired in the evening, don't make any decisions. There's no point in doing that. And the third recommendation, especially for family businesses, which is something that I learned the painful way because our family situation isn't so good after the crisis, the family is more important than the business. Families, especially if you have a family business with a legacy, you have some social capital from the past. And if you keep the family together, you can lose all your wealth, you will bounce back. But the family should go first.
That's very important. It's a good advice. Is there any other thing you would like to add to the conversation? Maybe something passionate to you that I didn't ask you, or something you feel can be a message to conclude it. Please go ahead and do that.
Oh, wow. No, I think I would stick with what I said last. I think that's the most important thing is what I learned. Family is more important than business and money. And make sure you take the time for your family and you include them in the decision process when the financial consequences are a consequence for all of the family. They all should know about it and have a little bit of a say in that. So, yeah.
Yeah, Octavia, thank you so much. This has been really an interesting conversation. I appreciate it.
My pleasure.